Good afternoon and welcome to our first in the series of our Program at a Glance graduate programs. Today we have Dr. Weiwei Zhang from the Masters of Science in Education Information Technology program speaking about her time in the program and her current job here at Western Oregon University. Thanks, Weiwei.
Thank you, Amber. And thank you all of you for coming to this presentation. When Amber first reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in doing this presentation, I did not even hesitate to say yes. This is a program that's very special to me personally and professionally. And also knowing students who had gone through the program, and I know I'm not alone. So I'm very excited to be here to share what I know about this program and also what I know about the field of education information technology. And hopefully you'll be interested. And we have faculty members here from the program, Dr. Mary Busey and Dr. Greg Zobel. If you have any further questions, you can always ask them. They are the nicest people, so they're great to work with. So a little bit background of the program. The program started in the 1990s, and in the past 30 years, do the math right, there are some changes and redesigns of the program, and I take this as a very positive thing. If you were to look at the past 20 years or 30 years, the world we're living has changed a lot, and the way we interact with information, the way we produce information, deliver information, receiving information, processing information has changed a lot, and technology has been playing an increasingly important role in the way that we interact with information. So I think, to me, when I see the changes in the program, I think it's a really healthy process because we are making changes to adjust how we fit in the society and fit in how information is used in the society these days. I came in 2006. There was a period of time in the past that there was a focus in international students. So I actually came in 12 years ago, as one of the international students in the international cohort. I graduated in 2008, and then in 2009, there was a redesign of the program. And these days, I think most students in the program are domestic students. I think that is not to say that it's not important to the international population. I think this is a topic that's going to be really popular globally, and it has increased attention from universally, I can't speak. So if we have the opportunity to work with international groups, I think it's going to be beneficial to both the international population and also us to make us more diverse. So that's the little bit background about this program. And before we really dive into the real business, I want to share a little story with you. And I promise it's relevant. Just bear with me for a minute. Over the winter break, our 4-year-old and my husband put their heads together and they were in the living room working on a project. About 30 minutes later, they came in and presented me with this little booklet. And the name of the booklet is called When I Grow Up. So it's our 4-year-old's idea, it's Anya's idea, and my husband Rob just helped her putting her idea down on a piece of paper and then use the thread to stitch them together. So I'm going to share the stories in there with you, and you'll see what's in the 4-year-old's head, her vision of grown-up lives. So when I grow up, I am going to wash dishes. I'm going to go to work. Recognize the building? It's the ITC building on campus. And I'm going to write more. I'm going to walk to school. I'm going to make presents for people. You know, it's Christmas time, we do a lot of presents, so that's in her head. I'm going to make food for Zia. Zia is her baby sister, so she's thinking about making food for Zia. And I'm going to wear big girl shoes. And apparently my husband can't draw what the big girl shoes look like. And she's going to feed a cat and a dog. And also take the pets to the doctor in a pet carrier. I'm really curious to see how she's going to fit our 60-pound dog in a pet carrier. And build snowman in snow and snowballs. And drink coffee in a coffee cup. We drink a lot of coffee around the house, apparently. And hang up decorations myself. And I'm going to sit on the couch and read books myself. I'm going to drive to the store myself. And that's the end of the story. So I was really excited seeing this thing. Not only it's really fun as a mom to see what a 4-year-old was thinking about what my life is like, and also this is the infancy of information design. And all those fancy designs come from the very simple ideas. If you were to look at this little booklet, there's really not much technology in it. It's pencil and paper and a couple of sticky notes and then needle and thread, that was it. I did not use any technology to read this booklet. And if we go one step further, we'll be looking at something like this. There's some technology used in making this book. Whatever program was used, the colors. And one of the first things I noticed, because I didn't read this book as a child, so I saw this book as an adult in the program, and I thought, the person who wrote this book and the person who did the illustration here, apparently they know a lot about how children learn. The bright colors, the contrast of the colors, the language, how it rhymes. There's a lot of knowledge behind a simple children's book. And then, if we go one step further, it becomes more interesting when more technology is involved in our education. So this is a book and a pen that we found in China. So this is actually a series of books, and about 15 to 20 books, I would say, and each book has a slightly different focus. So this one is on the characters. So this is to teach children how to read characters. And if you were to turn the pen on,
嗨，小朋友，欢迎使用诺亚舟点读笔。
and it's Chinese.
我爱听书。
I love listening to books and read characters. All right, so we're done with the introduction. You point.
我爱听书。
Okay, you recognize what the book it is. And then you open the book. This is Chinese characters for 1 to 10. A child will come in here and say, I want to hear what...
1、
2.
2、3、4、5。
So it's quite easy. And then you get into more advanced level. You have a picture of a toddler sitting there. And then you have the talking bubble here, and that's pointing to the location where it connects with the characters. And you point your pen there, and you can hear what it says. So this one has a lot more technology involved in this. It has technology involved in building the book, in building the pen, and also there's a lot of knowledge in education involved in designing the look of the book. Where do you put in the pictures? What kind of pictures do you want to involve in the book? And how do you draw attention from little children? And who are these children reading the book? Are they 2-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds? So you need to know the information. And all of these has to do with education, information technology that we talk about these days. So, like I promised you, this is a big loop, but we're coming around here. If we were to look at the end product and look at what we do every day, when we interact with people, we are acquiring information. We have a conversation, we read books, we get on websites, we read about things. We're acquiring knowledge. We get information, we process the information, and eventually acquiring a lot of knowledge. We also produce information ourselves. Right? We go talk to people, we present information, how you present it. When I was making the slides, I had to think about, okay, how am I going to make the slides that will help my audience understand what I'm saying instead of distracting my audience to something totally irrelevant. So if that's the end goal of communication and helping people understand your message, let's think backwards, what it takes to get there, what it takes for you to meet your goal. And that has something to do with understand how people learn. We should understand how our brain works. And understand your audience, knowing who you are talking to, and analyze what your audience needs are, and also design and create a path. So looking at this program actually has things to do with all of these aspects. In this program, we'll be looking at how people learn. These are some of the education courses that you will be taking. And know your audience, some of the information design courses will be looking at how to look at your audience and think about how to create information to meet the audience needs. And knowing their needs, of course, and design and create a path that might get into more of a technical side of things, but also it's very education related. And who is this program designed for? I would say mostly, knowing the program is in the Department of Education, of course, it's mostly for instructors and educators, but I call it the primary audience because I think the content that you will get from the program is also very relevant to other fields. And I'll explain that in just a little bit. So we talked about instructors, educators. So just look at this category first. With this degree, with the knowledge you learned from the program, these are jobs or job titles that you are likely to have. This is not the entire list. The entire list can go very long because depending on the institution, depending on the orientation of the position and the focus of the position, your title may be different. My title here is Academic Technologist. It's not even listed up there. It's not very common, but it's there. Instructional designer is the most commonly used titles for people who graduate from a degree like this and work at universities. Educational technology specialist is also very common. E-learning specialist is also very common. So these are the most commonly seen titles and jobs that you would get from having this degree. So if we were to look at all jobs in the world, in the States, let's say, and we divide them into two different categories, education, non-education, very big categories. And we already discussed, okay, all these things will fit into the education department, right? How about non-education? Are they relevant to jobs, careers that's not education related? I'm kind of a data person, so I like to arm with numbers. And so yesterday, I got on Indeed.com. So this is a searching engine for jobs. It's not oriented toward education jobs, but it's just a very general job searching engine. So I typed in instructional designer. And that's the number of jobs that came up. It's very high. So there were 15 postings per page, and I looked through 5 pages, that's 75 postings. And out of 75 postings I looked at, 59 of them are non-education related. So the percentage is like above more than 78% of jobs that with a focus on instructional design is not actually at schools. So the field is really growing. There are many companies and other industries are looking for people with instructional design skills. And let's take a closer look of what this looks like. Outside of those, among those jobs that we looked at, that big number, over 12,000, so over 10,000 full-time contract, part-time, temporary, internship, commission. All pretty good. And then if you were to looking at the income of people who hold this similar positions like this, it's about 65,000 per year. And I also did a search in educational technology specialist. I did expect the number to be lower because I had a keyword educational in there, so that kind of limited it to more toward school settings. But still, it's more than half of the postings are outside of education. And then I did a search in e-learning specialist. I expected that number to be higher, but honestly, it surprised me how high it is. There are many industries are looking for e-learning specialists. So what are those areas? You might be curious and ask the question. And I had a few examples to show you for you. So it could be somebody who works for the park, for National Park, somebody who works for the museum. You've all been to the parks and museums around here, and you will see there are information boards set at different settings, and those boards are supposed to serve as educational purpose. You teach your audience what this is about. You've all been to the zoo. There are pictures and boards and information of the animal that you are looking at. Here's an example. This is the Pit-Up Mansion in Portland. We visited a few months ago. And all over the mansion, there are boards like that. I don't know if you can see very well. Because of what I do professionally, I go in there. The first thing I noticed was, wow, this is really good design. Something about the color themes and then the font, the images they picked, the orientation of the boards, everything just fit into the room perfectly. You don't feel it's awkward for the actual board to be there, but you feel this is part of the room. And it was also attractive enough for the audience to go in there and actually read the information on the board. I was actually looking at people, visitors, to see whether or not they stop and look at the information, and most of them do. If there's no design in there, if there's no thought put behind the simple board, then it might be just a bunch of text that looks very dry and people are not that interested. I don't know if you can see very well. And if you look at the colors on the board, and when I looked around the room, the colors would match little different elements in the room. So whoever designed these posters are very thoughtful in the designing process. And also trainers, developers. This is such a big category that really opens up a lot of opportunities and possibilities. Here's another story. So this Christmas, we decided we're going to get a robotic vacuum for ourselves because our kids make a lot of mess and we're tired of cleaning up after them. So my husband was on a mission. He planted himself in a computer and he said, I'm going to do some research in these vacuum cleaners. A week later, he came to me with this exhausted look on his face. He said, there are 20 different companies that make these vacuum cleaners, and each company has like 20 different designs of the models, and each model has a slightly different number, and each model also has a slightly different feature from the others that make them a little bit better in one area, but not the other. I don't know which one to pick. So I said, okay, let's think about this. This is not a very efficient way of looking for information. Let's go to one place where the information is collected all together and is designed in a way that's easy for customers to see and compare. We got on Amazon. And we put in our price range as one filter. We put in the customer reviews as another filter. And then we had about 4 or 5 options for us to choose from. And then we read through some of the product information and looked at some customer reviews. It was a very easy choice for us. And I actually embedded a little bit video here that you can see. And this is an example of instructional design is everywhere. So all these feature highlights, the little bump, and we like that because we had bumps on the floor. So this is an example of information design with the help of technology. And it came in a box. The instructions are very simple. And usually my husband wouldn't let me install anything, and he allowed me to put this together because it was so straightforward. So this is one example. And by the way, Amazon is hiring instructional designers. I actually checked their site because it's obvious that somebody had put a lot of thoughts in this. How do you grab your customer's attention and then give them the information they need, feature the highlights of the product? Another example, this is actually a tool that we have integrated with Moodle. So you are all very familiar with Moodle. And actually, this is not a tool that only works with Moodle, but many platforms. when my husband and I visited Thailand a few years ago, we stayed at a guest house. And across the street from the guest house, there was a small cooking class going on. And it looked like, it's a very small class, and it looked like a family-owned business that it's a Thai couple, they opened up their houses and having tourists going and learn Thai style cooking. So I go on the balcony and I watch them. Sometimes it's really fun to watch how they interact and things like that. And I thought, in real world, if people really enjoying that personal touch, that human interaction, and if you talk to a psychologist, it is a human nature to seek for that level of interactions when we talk to each other. When we move things online, sometimes we lack that aspect, and we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we add that into an online environment where we're not seeing each other face to face? And I think 2 years ago, I talked to a student, and she was very interested in bakery, and she was considering starting her own business in baking and even teaching people how to bake. And that made me think back to the Thailand experience, and I thought, okay, if you're going to do this online, how do you grab that aspect into this, the interpersonal communication part? And then, I think it was last year when I ran into this, they have a little demonstration video that had to do with cooking. Well, it's not real cooking, it's making smoothies. But I think it's going to be something really interesting and open a lot of potentials for people who want to open their own business and do some coaching to people. If you want to train people to do how to do certain tasks, this is going to be something really useful. And here's a little comment. There's a multiple choice question we can do. What kind of berry is this? Quiz. Did you say strawberries, blueberries? Yeah, you were paying attention. But you get the idea. I'm not going to play the whole thing. So videos like this, technology like this, can really open up a lot of possibilities to us. You could start, if you were thinking about starting your own business, if you want to interact with your customers at this level, this is a possibility. Or if you're going to go into teaching, this is something you can use for your class. Either it's face-to-face, online, or hybrid. It's a very nice component for any type of interaction with your students or audience. So if I were to show you what the big structure of the jobs are like in the market, we would divide it into higher education, K-12 schools. That's what we talked about, instructors and educators that will benefit from having this degree. And also education-related textbook companies. Cengage, Pearson, they all look for instructional designers, e-learning specialists. And some big companies, big well-known companies, Amazon, Apple, Facebook. Most of you are very familiar with Facebook, and you see an increased number of videos being shown around with Facebook users. And many of the videos are very well made, and that really captures your attention. You want to sit there and watch the video. So all of those have the instructional design aspect in that as well. Other things I see that come up very often, healthcare systems, hospitals these days. Many hospitals offer health education classes. They are looking for instructional designers or e-learning specialists. Software companies, companies that create new software, new apps that you want to have some type of tutorial to teach your customer how to use that. Insurance companies are some others I saw, and even there was one construction companies that teach people how to use tools. I didn't look at all of the postings that was available, but I scanned through some of them, and it's amazing that the variety that I saw just with some of the keyword searches. And I also looked at U.S. Department of Labor site. They actually predicted the training and development specialists, the increase of the employment to be 11% in the next 10 years. Well, I should say in the next 8 years now. They do not have a category for instructional designers, but looking at this category, I looked at the description, it's similar to what I had in mind with instructional designer descriptions. And it is above the average of all occupations. So it's a very optimistic market here, 11%. And with that said, one thing I really like about this program, from my experience, is there is a definite structure, that the core is there. And to me, it was very clear what the goal is. But also, it also offers a great level of flexibility. Different students may come in with different interests, or you have different specialty already coming in as a student. And it was very flexible. There is a wide range of elective classes that you can choose from, and this is one of the electives. And apparently students were having great fun. I don't think we had this class when I was a student, and I would love to take this class again. So Q-Loop is another opportunities for students to engage on campus. It's a studio that is student-owned. It's over College of Education, the new building. And actually over there, I saw Amy. She's actually one of my GAs. She works with me and helping me with helping instruct with Moodle. And I think this is our Dean of Education. And I think next picture is a picture of Amy. She's definitely having fun and is very excited about opportunities. I love this picture of her, just capture her spirit. She's very enthusiastic and has a lot of energy, so she's great. And here's a picture of some, you can see Amy here, some previous students and current students going to the conference, Northwest Elan Conference over in Washington. So this is the annual conference, and Dr. Mary Busey and Dr. Brick Silva were there. They're very supportive of their students, so we all love them. I should point out though, I know I didn't say too much details about this program, but the graduate school website has a lot of good information on that, and I can show you how to find it. And information technology, and here there's a lot of good information on here. It's very detailed. I highly recommend you to come here and explore a little bit more. Contact them with any questions you may have regarding the program. Thanks.